Hi, my name is Courtney, and I am looking to teach kindergarten. So this week for the daily routine, I selected the calendar activity focused on a kindergarten grade class level. The focus of calendar activity is to build number sense with a focus on the date and patterns in numbers to reinforce previously taught concepts and to spiral instruction. It's not meant to introduce new concepts. These ideas were found on page 69 of the text. On page 70, Dr. Dickinson said, start small and increase cognitive demand over time. So the tools that I would use to support this would be modeling, repetition, and practice. Start with teacher-led and teacher-directed calendar activity, add in student helpers once they knew the routine, and eventually lead it into full student-led calendar morning activity. I would also use call and response. I would ask questions, give students time to answer, and acknowledge all thinking. And I would also use proper academic language so that the students were being familiarized with it. Calendar activity builds number sense and focuses upon patterns and numbers across the days and the weeks. So the examples that I would use in my calendar time would be starting with months of the year, starting by singing a song, having the students clapping out the syllables like January. Once they've done that, we would talk about which month has the most syllables, which month has the least syllables, which months have the same syllables. So by counting and clapping, they're comparing more, less, and equal to. I would do a days in school count. So not only what day of the month is today December 2nd or February 15th, but I would do a cumulative count of the days in school. With the cumulative count and the current day of the week, we could talk about odd versus even and how they knew that the day was odd or even. Did it end in a 2, a 4, a 6, an 8, or a 0, or a 1, 3, 5? Can you count by twos? So we incorporate all of those type of discussions in this activity. We also would work on predicting what tomorrow will be. If yesterday was the 10th, then today is the 11th. Tomorrow will be the 12th. So getting a number sense, starting with the number 10 and figuring out that if yesterday, the past was 10, today is 11, tomorrow will be. Being able to count starting at different spots. We could also count the cumulative days in schools by 1s, 2s, 5s, or 10s. In order to represent the days in school, we wouldn't just do it numerically. We would also use base 10 blocks where they could draw on the board or add one into a chart. We would use coins. So if we had been in school for 15 days, we could do 15 pennies or 3 nickels or a dime and nickel and dime and pennies. And the students would be able to talk about how they could represent 15 cents based on the days and what we could trade them in for. We would also use 10 frames to represent the days, and then that would help them count by tens when we were counting the total number of days. So we would use numbers a lot in the calendar to represent multiple meanings. The other thing I would use is patterned calendar pieces. So maybe for October, one is a pumpkin, and then the next one is a ghost. And that would be an A-B pattern. It would be pumpkin, ghost, pumpkin, ghost, pumpkin, ghost. And so we would be able to predict if today is a pumpkin, what will tomorrow be? As the year goes on, we can make the patterns a little more difficult. An A-B-B, an A-B-C-C-D, whatever it was, we could kind of grow the pattern as the year went on and they understood patterns a little bit more. I would also do weather on the daily, record the weather, talk about what kind of clothes they'd wear for that sort of weather, and then keep a chart of the weather and talk about which type of weather have we had the most of this week. Has it been sunny most? And for that would kind of be a bar chart, and we would just continue to put a little check mark for each of the days that they had weather recorded. So those are my initial ideas for incorporating math into calendar. And again, it would start a little bit more basic and add increased cognitive demand over time. All of the concepts would be introduced at the beginning of the year so that they did have a chance to understand the routine, see what we were doing, and find the consistency in it. Teaching across disciplines shows why math is important outside of math class. So Dr. Dickinson said on page 64 that daily routines spiral curriculum to support students in acquiring the skills they need to be successful. And I believe that by incorporating math into the daily calendar routine that this will be achieved. I'm going to add in my notes for the standards that my calendar routine meets for math. Thank you.